day, Pasadena. I'm Michelle Maglianico, and welcome to our news magazine program here on PCN, the Pasadena Community Network. Our first story is about the Women's City Club of Pasadena, which has been a gathering place for women actively involved in business, civic affairs, education, and volunteer work since 1945. And to add even more excitement to this story, that gathering place also happens to be a historic part of Pasadena. The home of Women's City Club is the Blinn House, completed in 1906 and designated a Pasadena Cultural Heritage Landmark in 1977. I had the opportunity to meet up with the Women's City Club and learn more about their historic home.
Welcome to the Women's City Club.
Yvette Janine Pardo is the president of the Women's City Club. Thank you for joining us today, Yvette. As president, what does that job entail?
Well, basically it is to work with the Women's City Club members and establish committees and help them create programs that help them and support them in their business and social and charitable endeavors.
And how did the club get started?
Well, in 1945, our founding members, Gloria Gartz and what I call her crew, found this place, and Gloria Gartz purchased the house specifically so that she could make it the home for women and women's clubs. And in a time, and I say this a lot to all our members, in a time when there was no email, no texting, no any other way of communication except phone and regular mail, she was able to gather over 400 women, and that's how the club started in 1945. And so we are here now to be able to maintain that legacy and hopefully keep it going for generations.
So now that you're in your 65th year, I understand there's a campaign going on. Can you tell us more about this campaign?
For our 65th year, we wanted to take a look at our founding members and who they looked like and what they were doing and what inspired them to create a club. And we created a criteria for women, and basically the criteria is about people who are philanthropic, women who are community-minded, 6 criteria. And we have established a huge campaign to be able to find 65 women to lead the next generation of Women's City Club members that fit the criteria that we've established.
And how many members have you gotten that are new members this year then?
We are approximately at 41.
So there's still time.
There's still time, that's right. And we have until July 30th, which we plan to end our 65th year with our first award dinner for our founder.
And how long have you been a member?
I've been a member for about 7 years.
And what made you join?
I fell in love with the place, and I thought, what a great place for my business, because I do consulting. Then I got to know the women, and I realized that I'm really here to have a good time, actually to get away from work. I come and I'm with women and we talk about our day-to-day activities, and we have programs that are just fun and not only intellectually stimulating, but actually make us laugh and enjoy each other, and it's a great place. It's my opportunity to get away from the testosterone at home, because I have my 2 boys, my father, my husband, and I get a little bit of estrogen.
Joining me now is a new member, Margaret Danilak. Margaret, thank you for joining us today, and could you tell us a little bit about what happens here as a member?
Well, we have a wonderful time celebrating life and meeting new members. There are many social aspects to the club. We have art shows here and wine tasting events. luncheons. We have a jazz night coming up. We've had other classical musical concerts here, and we have something called Thirsty Thursdays. Members meet around the fireplace, which we'll be seeing shortly, and have a drink and socialize and have conversation. And one of the things I love about the club is there are no television sets here, so we all get to enjoy conversation and meet new members and connect with old friends. It's a clubhouse, and but a historical home as well. And I'm one of the new 65 for 65 members, which means that I'm one of the newer members of the club. There's been a big push this year to add to the membership in honor of the 65th anniversary of the founding of the club. So I and several other women are celebrating this on a continuous basis throughout the year.
Joining me now is another new member, Maria Schweitzer. Maria, tell us about your activities here at the club.
Well, we have holiday tea coming up, holiday brunches. We usually have a monthly dinner that has some type of theme associated with it, usually for whatever season that we're in. We recently had a wine tasting event where the chief of police and his wife, along with some other members of the community, were invited. For Kentucky Derby, we have a Kentucky Derby party where we bring out our big hats and watch the races together, and spend social evenings on Thursday with the other members. I've really broadened my my horizons with the friendships that I've made here, and have been able to have an escape from the daily grind with the friendships and the people that I've met.
The Blinn House has been here in Pasadena since 1905, and joining me now to tell us more about the home is President of the Blinn House Foundation, Dr. Flo Stevens. Doctor, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the features of this home?
Well, this home is described as being prairie style, and the original owners came from Illinois, so I guess they wanted to have something familiar in sunny Southern California, and so they decided that they wanted it to be natural, the mahogany frames for the doors and the windows, and the trailing wisteria pattern that goes throughout the house, the windows, the light fixtures, and even this beautiful fireplace. Edmund Blinn was the owner, the original owner, and he came out with his family. They wanted to leave, I guess, the snow in Illinois and come to a place where it was perennially sunshiny and warm.
Now, as president of the foundation, what does your job entail?
Well, we have two missions. One, the first here is the preservation of this beautiful house. Many of the features of the house are the original features. We've not replaced the windows or the light fixtures, as I mentioned before, the fireplace. Throughout the house, we have the original floors, so that we're a historic structure nationally and in the state of California. And our mission is to keep this house in tip-top condition, which is difficult because, as you know, old houses settle and they get cracks and all the other kinds of things. The second thing is to make this house available for educating the public about what a prairie house looks like. It's similar to the Gamble House, that we have many similar features, and although we're not as well known, we hope we will be, and because we invite the public to come and view the Blinn House.
Can I actually trouble you to talk a little bit about some of the specific features? And one that I'd really like to start with is the fireplace. I mean, can you provide us with some of the details about it?
Well, these are tiles on the wall. They're golden tiles, and the theme is a trailing wisteria around the border of the fireplace, and with the wisteria coming down to the fire, bringing your attention to this. And this is an original, and there's nothing that has been replaced. It's just gorgeous. And people, when they come in, they're drawn to this fireplace because no one's seen anything this beautiful before. And it's different because, as you know, there's no mantle. This is this beautiful picture of trailing wisteria.
It certainly is gorgeous. And one of the other features that we were looking at earlier was this light fixture. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the same theme, but this time they're flowers that are coming down. And if you'll go through other parts of the house, you'll see the same type of flower. It's not a tulip, but it looks like one.
What about some of the stained glass windows?
The stained glass windows also take on the theme of trailing wisteria all around. They're irreplaceable. You cannot replace these windows. And right now, we're very concerned because these windows are really, really old, that we need to make sure that they don't fall out of the windows. So that's one of our priorities for our capital campaigns.
And what are some of the other unique features that we're going to see?
Well, you're going to see a recurring theme, architectural theme, which are the broken arches. Our fireplace is a broken arch, and to the side of this room is a broken arch, and the doorway into the entrance into the Blinn House is a broken arch.
Well, preserving a house this size must take a lot of work. How do you get the funding for that?
Well, we are very enthusiastic about trying to raise money to keep this house preserved the way it should be preserved. And we raise money in several ways. We have an annual appeal. We asked our community to come and support us. As I mentioned before, this building is opened up to community groups to hold meetings, and we welcome their participation. And so we go back out and say, help us do this. This year, the Blinn House Foundation has planned a series of little mini fundraisers. As was mentioned before, we're having a jazz night where we're bringing in a very well-known jazz saxophonist, Zane Musa, to entertain. We've had one bridge tournament, which was a lot of fun, and we're repeating it again in January. And then our big fundraiser will be in May, which is our Derby Day, and where we, as we mentioned before, the big hats come out, and we have a lot of fun. We are planning a major capital campaign where we're going to go in and ask for big bucks from our sponsors and people who feel that this house is really worth the effort to keep it looking and being the kind of house that it has been throughout the years, welcoming the community to come in and meet with us, and then for people to just come and have a good time here. So it's a continuous effort, and that's why we have the Blinn House Foundation, because that's our charge, to raise money to keep this beautiful house in the condition that it needs to be in.
And last but not least, Francine Kultz is the general manager of the Women's City Club. Thank you for coming, Francine, to join us and talk to us today. And tell us a little bit about some of the programs that the Women's City Club does.
The club has, well, a variety of programs. I think we've pretty well covered some of those that are directed towards our members and generated by our members. In addition to those, we have in addition to those individual members, we have nonprofit organizations that belong to the club as part of our legacy. That's how the club began, with nonprofits meeting here at the Blinn House. And so we continue that till today. We invite the nonprofits to belong. And they have monthly meetings, board meetings, and the regular group meeting. They have a lunch or a dinner. And there's a variety, and some from Zonta, a women's organization who has belonged to the club since, oh golly, for at least 30 years. And one of our newer members, the California Art Club. In the case of the Art Club, we have an ongoing relationship with them where they exhibit artwork throughout the house. We now change that artwork 3 times, so 3 times during the year. So our members and our members' guests and other guests to the home have the ability to walk through lovely exhibit and a changing exhibit throughout the year. We have other artwork. We have our own artwork and photography, and maybe this would be a good time.
A special one came, right?
We just came by a photograph of the Blinn family, sans Mr. Blinn. Kate Blinn, who was the original owner, she and her husband built the home, as you know, in 1906. And these are her 3 children. This boy's son sent the picture to us. He's now in his late 70s. His name is Robert Blinn. And he's visited the home frequently, as has his brother. And this hangs in the home along with some original photographs of the family and some of our own artwork as well, as I've said. Other programs, we have business organizations that meet member and not member. We do a limited amount of rentals to non-member groups and individuals. They'll have networking groups, speed networking programs, lots of social groups, and as you might suspect, having seen the house now, a lot of weddings and showers and those kinds of social events. The home just beckons members or guests for that. The other types of program, probably some community-based. The League of Women Voters is a member here, and they have, of course, a wide assortment of different programs. Pretty broad assortment, and we've been doing that for 65 years, and I'm sure we'll continue to.
To learn more about the Women's City Club, you can visit their website at www.womencityclub.com or call them at 626-796-0560. Caltech continues to blend state-of-the-art innovation with significant scientific achievements. This time, it all comes together in the Warren and Catherine Schlinger Laboratory for Chemistry and Chemical Engineering. The 62,300 square foot, four-story building brings together chemists and chemical engineers under one roof to facilitate new discovery and advancements.
So I'm a professor of chemistry, but I'm an organic chemist by training, and so what that means is we work on the molecules of life, basically. So building blocks of life, things that are made out of carbon, and then there are other elements that are incorporated as well. But generally speaking, we know how to do synthesis. So we make compounds, and they're organic compounds typically. So the synthesis is an important field, basically because it's one of those things that chemists can do that in most other sciences you can't do, which is create something from nothing, basically. You can make new structures and new compounds, new materials, things that have never been made before. And so we're learning how to do that, and we push the field of synthesis in our laboratory.
So what impact would this have on medicine?
I think something on the order of probably 95% of all pharmaceuticals are produced by synthetic chemists. So people very similar to the students and postdocs who work in my lab go off to the pharmaceutical industry and make a lot of compounds, probing their biology all along the way, and then eventually, 1 in a million, very lucky, single lucky compound becomes a drug. And so the only way that industry can move forward is to have people working in that industry who are effectively trained in the laboratories that we have here at Caltech and other similar laboratories around the world.
So what was the significance of this particular building bringing things together? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. First off, this is the first new building in chemistry and chemical engineering at Caltech since the 60s. So that's just from a historical standpoint, I think is a very important thing. Also, it's the first building on campus that actually merges the two main subgroups within our division at Caltech together, so chemistry and chemical engineering. Caltech is pretty unique in that most places have a department of chemistry and a department of chemical engineering, and they're very separate. At Caltech, we have this divisional structure, and those two subgroups are together in one division. But this is the first building where I guess both subgroups are actually present. So on the first floor and in the basement are chemical engineers, and on the second floor and on the third floor are chemists. And that is an experiment kind of in and of itself to see how the different groups can interact with each other being in the same building. But it's exciting from that standpoint that it is the first time that we've had that opportunity really within the same building at Caltech.
Oh, great. Now, what are some of the highlights of this particular building?
The building is spectacular. So I think first off, it's probably the most state-of-the-art chemistry and chemical engineering building in the country, if not the world. It's got first off, it's just beautiful from the standpoint of working atmosphere. So as you walk through it, there's large windows, there's lots of sunlight. It's certainly not a dark, cornered kind of laboratory that you might envision chemists working in. It's actually a very friendly place to work. But from the standpoint of the environment, we actually have a very high LEED certification. I think it's a gold LEED certification. So there are a lot of energy-saving things embedded within the infrastructure of the building. From the chemist standpoint, some of the most exciting things are we have really state-of-the-art fume hoods, which is where most chemists do most of their work. It's a ventilated, hooded sort of environment where you can work without having any sort of exposure to gases and fumes and things like that. And the hoods themselves are really state-of-the-art and are sort of, you might call them the Mercedes-Benz of fume hoods.
Well, you're going to show us some of this too, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'd be happy to take you through. So this is our laboratory. This is on the 3rd floor of the Schlinger building. This is what I referred to earlier as a Mercedes-Benz of fume hoods. So these are called Waldner hoods. And inside of these fume hoods are where the chemist does really all of his or her work. And so this is where one would run reactions. But as you'll notice, there's this front piece here, and there's a constant flow of air coming through here, and so it takes away all the fumes and really makes for a very pleasant and safe environment. There's really no smell of a chemistry lab just standing outside here on the other side of the glass of the fume hood. These fume hoods, though, are actually really quite special in that, first off, the depth and width of them is larger than most fume hoods that I've ever worked in. But another key feature to these is that actually the air system turns on to a higher degree the higher you open up the fume hood sash. So when it's up like this, the air is flowing quite freely, but as the hood sash goes down, the motors and fans turn down to a lower volume, and that saves a lot on energy. As you can imagine, these are pretty energy intensive. Another important aspect to them is that these fume hoods actually have a camera up at the top here, and when one walks away, let's say, and forgets to lower the hood sash, which would then save on energy, after a certain amount of time, the hood sash just lowers itself, so automatically, and goes down again to save on energy. So these are really about as energy efficient as you can get. So inside of this box is an atmosphere of nitrogen. So to organic chemists and inorganic chemists alike, oxygen is often detrimental to what they're trying to do. And so excluding oxygen, like the air we're breathing, is a useful tool. And so inside the box is an atmosphere of nitrogen that's effectively an inert chemical to most organic and inorganic compounds. And so we're able to run reactions inside of the box, and it's really just this positive pressure of nitrogen that's pulling these, or blowing out these gloves and making it look kind of funny. But basically all you need to do to be able to run reactions in there or work inside the box is, fit your hand in here and then put your hand inside, and then you can do whatever you want inside of the box, just as you would on the benchtop.
The laboratory has been named in honor of Warren and Catherine Schlinger, benefactors of Caltech for more than 60 years. Pasadena children are getting some help to improve their reading skills. Kids Reading to Succeed is a nonprofit organization that works with kids from ages 6 to 14. The first Saturday of the month, volunteers read books with the children. Afterwards, the group embarks on a project that is geared toward showing kids just how important literacy is to basic activities in various careers. Jessica Goodman brings us more.
Thanks, Rochelle. It was a big day planned here at the Saturday Reading Program. Everyone's getting into the holiday spirit with Christmas stories. And we're even going to hear from a very special guest star. Joining me now is the Executive Director of Kids Reading to Succeed, Deborah Yim. So, Deborah, how did this program get started?
Well, Jessica, we started this program, Kids Reading to Succeed, 2 years ago, back in December of 2008. And our goal at the time was just to get kids excited about reading, inspire them to go out there and, you know, on a Saturday morning, just pick up a book and read, and to improve their literacy skills. We have just a group of really dedicated, wonderful volunteers who come out and just help these kids out. And it's been really great. It's been a blast.
Why did you feel the need to start this program?
Well, Jessica, we discovered that there was a real need for a literacy program in Pasadena. With the budget cuts in California, a lot of the funding for extracurricular activities and programs have been cut, and especially for reading. And so we feel that if we can give that extra help, extra programs to help these kids, and they're willing to come out on a Saturday morning and improve their reading skills, and just get excited about reading, we're happy to do that. And having volunteers come out to do that is a wonderful thing.
What type of activities do you have for these kids on Saturday?
We're coming up with innovative, fun, and hands-on projects to get the kids excited about reading and also to improve their literacy skills. So in the past, what we've done is we had a chef come in and she created a recipe for molasses cookie, and the kids had to read the recipe and then work together to actually create the cookies. So that was great, and they got to see the final product after they read the recipe and understood it. And then this month, we're having a wonderful opera singer come in to share his beautiful voice with us. And he's going to be actually passing out some holiday songs for the kids to read. They have to understand the words, and then they'll be singing along with him. So we're really excited about having him come in.
Joining me now is the opera singer Marco Lozano. Marco, how did you get started in this field?
As I was growing up, my mother used to sing a lot around the house, and every time she cooked or was, baking or washing dishes, she would always be singing, and she would inspire and ask me to sing with her.
Why is literacy so important in this field of opera?
Well, just to begin, I would not have been able to get into Pasadena City College or let alone any other school if I wasn't able to read. But also, it's literacy, it's a stepping stone to being able to read many other different things, and definitely being able to read all sorts of literature and stories aided me in being able to adapt to music reading as well.
What are you going to sing for the children today?
I'll be singing La Donna Immobile, which is from the opera Rigoletto by Giuseppe Verdi. And then it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
La Donna Immobile, qual piuma al vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero, sempre un amabile, leggiadro viso, in pianto in riso e menzognero. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10, glistening once again with the candy wings and silver legs aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store. But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hobble months and a pistol dishes is a wish of Barney and friends. Dolls that will talk